Hello and welcome to France 24's weekly music show. I'm Jennifer Ben Brahim. Coming up.
Playing all the games of life. If you never get in line, never blame it all on you, on you.
Indie electro band Casablanca Drivers are originally from Corsica, but brought over their sun-soaked riffs to the French capital. They just dropped their third album, Protocol. It's a record jam-packed with dancefloor-ready beats and a bass line for both clubbers and punks, of course with a heavy dose of French touch heritage. Nicolas, Paoletti and Alexandre Diani join me in the studio to tell us more.
Hello, Jenny.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you for coming in on a Monday morning. Now let's start talking about the album name, because I feel like you guys are not very into following protocol, so why this choice? What are you saying?
Well, that's the thing. We just finished the previous album last year, and we were like, okay, we need to make songs, and we need to follow this protocol that's always the same: making songs, mix them, masterize them, promote them, and we were like, we're going to follow this protocol, but not following it at the same time, because we made it in a basement, Yeah,
you definitely feel this kind of change of direction, change of pace. So much so that you're working with a kind of new team. You're working with Knit, known for his collaborations with Sébastien Tellier, as well as Ash Workman of Metronomy fame. Where do we find you, sonically on this record?
There is a sonic evolution. It's more electronic. It's more acid. It's more physical in a way. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why we went to see this guy Knit, because we wanted to stay like with this punk energy, but with the guy who knows the buttons,
And it's interesting that you rarely hear this mix of kind of like rock riffs with kind of dance floor ready beats. Why that decision to blend both, and was it hard to kind of keep loyal to those two sounds?
I don't know. I mean, it's the music we want to listen at night. So it was like this natural evolution for us.
That's it. Yeah, we're starting to have sessions at nights to hidden from the
people.
And
it felt natural for us to make the music we want to listen to at this moment.
Okay, we'll listen to one of the tracks off a record. This is a very 80s tinged X-Ray.
End of every single day. What's coming on the way? You could be anywhere, and every single day is blowing like the air. You could be anywhere. You could be anywhere. Someone's deceiving. No one receiving. Oh, I think it's real, but they don't ask why. Someone's believing.
So that was X-Ray there. Now the album, and especially this track, feels like we're following you on this night out. Where are we? What is this debaucherous evening that we're joining you on?
Where are we, Alexandre?
Well, we're actually in Paris. We're following the day of that musician that's supposed to be me, because I broke my toe a couple of months ago, and we decided to pay tribute to my toe.
Just before like this Mexican tour.
Yeah,
right?
just the day before we went to Mexico for play, for those gigs, and we decided to make something out of it.
Okay, and like why this kind of 80s tinge? Is something that you were hoping to kind of infuse into that song?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Knit's bass line actually that we really loved, and we jammed on that bass line for hours in the studio, and we just love it.
Yeah.
Now I read a review of the album saying that it is kind of like an anti-melancholia album, that it really is bringing us cheer. Why do you think that's the case? Do we need to be a bit happier right now? Was that the intention of the album when you were making it?
It was a remedy for ourselves first, I think, and that's not the first intention, but if that's the feeling that it gives, it's okay for us.
Yeah, it's definitely successful. It's definitely like a good album to listen to on a gloomy evening. Now, we talked about change direction before. You've also changed in terms of art direction. You teamed up with the legendary French touch icon Alexandre Courtès. He's known for having made artwork for the likes of Cassius, Air, Daft Punk. I believe he even made the famous helmets for Daft Punk.
He did.
What did he bring to the table with your project?
It brings a banger, like this idea, like this commercial idea of the green light, the red light, and this face. Like it was so easy to see it. It was like love at first sight. you know, say
Yeah, we want to see that
strong
guy.
identity.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just listen to the album and we say the album is going to be called Protocol. What comes to mind? And he sent us the first
First raw.
Yeah, that was the cover actually.
And I feel like, because I mentioned at the beginning of the show that it's very dance floor beats, rock, but also we feel this kind of homage to French touch. How important has that been to you as a band, the heritage of French touch?
It's a big influence, of course, but also it makes our music more legitimate, I would say, because it's okay now to make music in English, but being French, especially when we go to Mexico to play gigs,
Yeah. It so gives us credibility in a way.
Yeah. Music in English is not just for English or Americans, it's for French people, Spanish people, German people, but it's like for us, making some French touch, influence music makes sense for us.
Corsican touch.
Corsican touch.
Yes,
Sorry for
careful
that.
of that. Well, speaking of languages, we're going to talk about some other music releases of this week, and it's the return of Belfast rap trio Kneecap. They've had quite a year facing a legal battle over terror charges after having allegedly brandished a Hezbollah flag at a concert in 2024, charges that were eventually thrown out. Despite all this, they're back and more riled up than ever with their latest album, Fenian. It's a new chapter, which means a new sound, a new manifesto, but the same desire to celebrate the Irish language through their music. I actually spoke to them at last summer's Rock en Scène festival, and this is what they had to say about language as a tool of political resistance, and a quick taste of this new record.
I think in essence, speaking a native or indigenous language is very anti-capitalist at its core, and it goes against the grain of modern society, because it's not about what profits you can draw from the community. It's all about solidarity and coming together, and that common love for the language and identity. That is a form of resistance.
It's no accident that the colonial powers' first port of call is to attack the language and take the language away from the people, because then they can subjugate them, and that's why it's important for people to reclaim their languages, and because it gives you that connection to the land, to who you are, and to everything around you.
Here comes the tipsy ants, giving us stacks for political rants, how to make a few bob off the government grants, but we're all together for a hooligan chance.
Okay, well, Kneecap will be heading out on tour, and you can see them on the 20th of November at Paris's Zenith venue. Now, Nicolas and Alexandre, as you heard there, Kneecap are very proud of their Irish culture. You're both Corsican, but based in Paris. Yeah. But you also have links to Mexico because you're signed to a Mexican independent label. How do you celebrate all these cultures?
We are very proud of this mix today. When we arrived in Paris first, we tried to hide this Corsican heritage. Of course, not that we were ashamed of it, but we were put in, in case we didn't want to go to. But we are very proud of it, and we're starting to think of, claim it even bigger, we are Corsican, we're not French.
Yeah. What would be a Corsican touch that you could add to your music? Is that a next album we could see similar to Kneecap, where we have a Corsican themed record?
Maybe that's a funny question, because I don't know if you know the Kirin Jikalinan, this Australian guy. So we met this thing with him on the previous record, and he used to tell us you have to be like the Kneecap from Corsica, with such a strong identity, and maybe next record we're gonna go hard on identity.
Yeah, with a flag on stage.
Yeah, with a big flag and
stage,
no, but Kneecap, shout out to them. It's a very important band nowadays.
Yeah, celebrating your own culture and heritage. Now, next to American country singer Casey Musgraves, who has also been diving back into her cultural roots, that being Texas. This is on her 7th album, Middle of Nowhere. She says that she made a record during the longest single period of her life, where she found for the first time the wonders of solitude and alone time. Let's listen to the aptly titled single, Dry Spell.
I'm so lonely, lonely with a capital H, if you know what I mean. I've been sitting on the washing machine. Ain't nobody's tool up in my shed. Ain't nobody's boots under my bed. Ain't nobody's truck up in my drive for a late night call for a real good time.
Okay, we've come to the end of the show, and I want to thank Nicolas and Alexandre for coming to speak to us from Casablanca Drivers.
Thank you.
Where can we see you out on the road? What are the shows that we can catching up?
Next week, 6th of May, we're playing Bus Palladium for our release party. So it's going to be a great night in Paris.
And a very special gig because it's in a very special venue that's just reopened.
Yeah, that's the first venue we play in Paris, actually. A couple of years ago. I'm not.
So it's very
how many
sentimental.
years.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment for both of you.
Yeah,
That's
full
it.
circle.
That's it. Yeah, we're very proud.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one for the calendar. Now, before we go, just enough time to tell you about new music from American blues rock duo The Black Keys. Peaches is a covers album, and it was seen as a cathartic way for Dan and Patrick to deal with recent grief by jamming in the studio to some of their favourite songs in their record collection. We'll play out with one of the tracks from the 14th album. This is You Got to Lose. Now, for more arts and culture, you can head to our website. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.